Well, it is 2 o'clock Hawaii time. Hello, everybody. I'm Gil, and I pastored a couple of churches in Colorado back in the day. They both became megachurches, and I just ended up getting married recently and just decided that Beth and I were going to start doing some Sunday talks. Not very long, but long enough for you to be able to go, man, this rocks, and I want to grow, and I'm excited to grow. And so here we go. We're going to talk about how not to waste a crisis. How not to waste a crisis. And just know a crisis will do one of two things to you. Okay, the first one is it'll blow you up. That can happen. You can actually go like crazy being eaten up inside. And if you've seen some mass hysteria, you know some people that have bought into that over this coronavirus thing. Another option, if you want it, is to develop and grow. To develop and grow. You know butterflies? They're caterpillars who get cocooned. There's a cocooning in our ecosystem that basically you struggle, like that caterpillar struggles and fights and gets strong, and finally one day the wings are out and he flies. What we do as humans is say, I'd like to bypass the cocooning section. I want to bypass it. No thanks. I think I'll just check out. And then we expect to be flying, and then we go, why am I always grounded? Why am I always struggling? It's because you didn't use the crisis. I've had a lot of them in my life. Some of them I've gone into mass hysteria, and some of them I've allowed to be a cocoon. So the question to you would be this: will you allow the cocooning process to take place? Because it is the first law of spiritual thermodynamics. The first law of spiritual thermodynamics is the more pressure in your life, the more expansion of your soul. The more pressure in your life, the more expansion of your soul. I know some of you right now are going, I just like the pressure to stop, and that's okay. That's an all right place to be as long as you're allowing the cocooning process to grow you. And there are times I'll say to God, please, enough. I'm good. Give me a little break, season of grace, before another crisis comes along. But remember the first law of spiritual thermodynamics. The more pressure in your life, the more expansion of your soul. So here we go. 4 lethal immediate reactions. 4 lethal immediate reactions. Lethal since they'll kill the energy and life in you. When you go into this reaction mode, it kills the energy and the life in you. It just does, you know. You stay basically in the cocoon. There's no butterflying. You just stay in there and decide not to struggle and fight, and you go nuts. And before you know it, it's lethal because your energy and life are out. But then there's 4 life-giving deliberate responses. Reactions are what everybody does, right? They just go into, oh my gosh, and the speed gets high and they go that way. Really great people, I want to say people that tap in and are aware of God and themselves and the world, they stop. And they watch all this stuff going on and they think to themselves, I'm going to respond 4 different ways deliberately in the midst of all this crazy hysteria, and I'm going to choose this way to live, and I'm going to give you those 4. We got to fly, because we only got a few minutes here, okay? But we're going to fly. So here we go. The first lethal reaction, you'll get this, you freak out. You freak out. Right? Oh my God! What's happening? What's going on? And the diagnosis here, right, is that you're looking out at the crisis and in at yourself and all your fear and worry. You're doing this. Crisis! I'm anxious and worried. Crisis! Right? You're looking out at the crisis and then you're navel gazing at how freaked out you are. Oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do. What do I need? I don't know how to handle this. So whatever the crisis is for you, you've given over control of your thoughts and emotions and your life, and you're flung into a state of worst case scenario thinking. That's just normal. It's just normal. It's what everybody does, right? It's like, well, there I go, you know. I'm giving over control. Basically, I'm a victim. Everybody else controls I love when people say, that made me really scared, or that made me. You're not being made anything. It's just being revealed. That's what's going on in you. So whatever the crisis is, right, you've just decided to give over control. American development biologist Bruce Lipton, he was at Stanford, now he's over in New Zealand. He says that your cells, on a scientific level, every one of your cells makes one of 2 choices every moment of every day. And love. Fear and love. Fear's an emotion, love's a decision, but once fear's an emotion, now you have control of it. You can see it and go, what am I going to do with my fear? Every one of us can do that. And let me tell you, in our world, some people really understand this in the human nature and psyche. You know who they are? There's 4 types of people. Ready? Here we go. The media absolutely knows how to draw you in. They know, I love, on Fox is always, alert! I'm like, you gave that alert 4 days ago. Why is it an alert still now? Because they know they'll grab you. All they have to do is go, breaking story, and we go, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So the media, ready? Salespeople, you don't buy this product, look out, just watch TV and watch the commercials. If you don't have this, no girl's going to check you out. If you don't drink this, you're not cool. All right? The media, salespeople, politicians, if you don't vote for me, you're screwed. Matter of fact, if you don't vote for me, the whole world's going to go to hell in a handbasket, and everybody's like, what's going to happen? We're going to become like Venezuela. We're going to become this. Oh my gosh, right? And we freak. Politicians know that. And the 4th is priests. And I say that because I used to hold the office of pastor, and I, at times, am really tempted. I want change so badly that I'll throw some fear thing out there to you. Because then you'll go, finally you'll go, oh my gosh, and then you'll change short term, right? That's what pastors do. They have you change short term because they'll take it. So priests and pastors, they know all they got to do is go in there and get your fear. So love is a decision. But once you feel fear, you can choose to stay in that fear by locking into all this, looking out and looking in, or you can choose to look up and love. Look up and love. That's the first deliberate response of really wise people. They look up and they choose love. So now you're free to give and receive love. You can do it now. You're free because the truth sets you free. And so now you're free to be able to say, you know what? That doesn't own me. That crisis doesn't own me. I own me. Viktor Frankl said this in a concentration camp at Auschwitz. He goes, you know, the Germans can take my skin, they can take my life, they can do all these, they can take everything away from me except my heart and my attitude. You can choose love, and you can choose to receive it. And this might be corny to some of you, but I'm a mama's boy. I'll own it. Grew up that way. But I remember one time racing this dog, this German Shepherd my aunt and uncle had, and we're flying. And that dog decided to just in front of me. I'm Usain Bolt, but this dog was faster. And the dog got, in front of me and then decided to, at the last second before we hit the finish line, to stop and scratch his ear. Shotzi was the name of the dog. And I flew over Shotzi, and I went head first into a rock bed. And I was out. And I woke up, I don't know, maybe it was 30 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, I don't know what it was. But I woke up in my mom's arms. I hurt, make no mistake. I was concussed. I had a massive eye socket issue. But as long as I was in my mom's arms, I'm good. I remember that, just going, I'm good. And that kind of went on in my life. Like if I was struggling in college or everything would calm down. My deliberate response in the face of all these crises was, I got to find love. And if I find love, then I'll give it. So, your call here is okay. 1 John 4:18 goes like this. Perfect love casts out all fear. Perfect love casts out all fear. So here's what I've been doing. When I wash my hands during the day, and I'm washing them, 20 times a day now, I just say the Lord's Prayer. It takes about that long to wash my hands. And I just go, hey, Daddy, who art in heaven, there you are. Hallowed be your name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. And I'm just washing my hands, and I'm going through the whole bit about forgiveness and testing and temptation. And I'm going through these things in this prayer. And then at the end of the prayer, it's just like, yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory. This is not about me, and it's not about the crises. It's about what you're doing in me through the crises. So you freak out is one way to do it, or you choose love over fear. Number 2, lethal reaction. You isolate. I don't know about you, but when I'm going through some really hard times, I hunker down. I isolate. and I hunker down alone. And when I do that, I tend to get on my phone and do really, really healthy things like go on Twitter. Twitter is where all the mad people are. And I go on Twitter and they're lobbing Molotov cocktails at people. And I'm hunkering down and I get scared and I start thinking about making my own Molotov cocktail. You know the scariest place to be during a crisis? You know the scariest place to be? Between your two ears. Because you hunker down, and then right here, you know what happens when you do that? I call them gremlins. The gremlins, if you feed a gremlin after midnight, what happens? You know what I think? If I'm up after midnight and I'm hunkered down and I start feeding my soul all this fear and anger and worry, the gremlins come out. They're all over. Watch the movie. It's a scary thing. It's a scary thing to live a gremlin life, and that's exactly what I do between my two ears, okay? So, here's the deliberate response. I mean, be really wise on this. Start connecting with your friendship Mount Rushmore. When crises hit you, the first thing that we need to be thinking is, I need a pack. I need a pack of people with me. You know, me alone, I'm toast. Me with my Mount Rushmore, like my top 4 Mount Rushmore and friendships, and I reach out to them, they can't do anything at that point. That crisis can do nothing. Fear can't take me because I've got people speaking back into my life truth. They love me and they walk it through with me. Ecclesiastes 4, 9 through 12, read it. It says, if you're alone in this world, you're toast. If you hunker down and isolate, you're a goner. But if you lock in to some relationships and some friendships, you're solid. You're solid. So I just wrote this down. I go, Gil plus 0, right? 1 plus 0. Gil plus 0 equals 0. I'm going to be gone. It's called friendship math. Then I've got God on there. I've got Beth on there, my wife. I talk to her a lot. She's probably getting tired of me talking to her. I talk all the time. Then I've got Bob and Patty Tennell. They're just amazing people. He came out and did our wedding. And then I've got my dad and Beth's mom, Jerry and Mary Beth. That's my Mount Rushmore. And I'm telling you, when I access that, it's incredible. It's incredible. So I want to ask you, okay? Who's on your Mount Rushmore? Write them down. And if you're thinking to yourself, I don't even know, then you can develop the skill of getting people around you, okay? Choose. Be deliberate. Third, lethal reaction. You join the herd. All the other people just reacting, you decide to join the herd. You go for it. And there's 2 choices right now with coronavirus, right? 2 choices. Drama, with the herd mentality and the sheep, what we call them. Drama or wisdom. You can choose. Every time stuff like this comes up, you have a choice. This one is drama or wisdom. Wisdom in Hebrew is chachma, and it means to live your life skillfully. It's skill living. I don't know if you know this, but living your life is an art and a science. It's scientific. There's ways to live that are unbelievable, and you can choose that. That's just what's amazing. We get to stop and pop, man. We get to choose exactly how we want to live. Recently, Dr. Drew came out. I've been watching Dr. Drew on TV just because he whittles it down, right? He's talking about the coronavirus, and Dr. Drew says this: don't listen to anybody except the CDC and Dr. Fauci. So when someone calls me and goes, oh look, this was in an Italian newspaper, somebody just dropped over dead, I go, are you the CDC or Dr. Fauci? No, I'm not joining the herd. I'm not joining the herd. I get down to who is wise that can walk me through these things because I need somebody to give me that lane and I need to stay in it. So I just go, here's what I do. Every time I get some stuff around this virus, this crisis, I go, is that CDC? Is that Dr. Fauci? No, but Gil, check this article I got from I'mAweirdo.com. Oh my God, we're all dying. 600 million people. And I just go, well, you're not CDC or Dr. Fauci, so you know what? I don't do that. So here's what I do. Okay? Instead of joining the herd in that, I do this. I choose wisdom over the drama of the herd. I choose wisdom over the drama of the herd. What voices are solid? And I stick with them. What is solid? And I stick with them. And all this other stuff going on is just nuts. And I just, to be honest, I just like watching it now. I grab like usually a banana and a Coke, and I sit and, just kind of watch my phone and Gil, because I'm a pastor, right? And Beth does her thing with her people, and woo! And we just kind of go, it's not nearly as sexy as you think. It's the CDC and Dr. Fauci, and let's roll, okay? All right, last one. Fourth lethal reaction is you warp God. I don't know about you, but I think it'd be awful tough being God in a world that, I don't know if you know this, but like in insurance, like when you sign up for insurance, it'll go, well, if your house gets blown away by blah, 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 and then the last one is, or an act of God. In other words, man, if God has to do something, it's going to be like, blowing you up. He always takes it, and I always think to myself, man, so it's no surprise, right, that you start hearing from religious people who have an axe to grind right now. God's mad at the transgenders. He's mad at the gays. God is so mad. And that's why all this stuff's happening. Can I just... That's... it's just crap. I mean, seriously. God is on your side. Write it down. God doesn't do anything, right? So can I put you back on a track of some stable, wise information? God's mad about you, like in a good way. He's not mad at you, he's mad about you. He loves you, he likes you. There's 4 words in the Greek for love, unconditional. Then there's brotherly love, and then there's eros, the physical, sexual thing. And then there's this family love. And God says, you know what, I just love you. Got a lot of words to pick from, I just think you're great. Jesus said this in John 3:16 and 17. He goes, I did not come into the world to judge it or condemn it. I came to rescue it. He is in rescue mode. He is not in judgment condemnation mode. And that's Jesus, who's called the Word of God. So when God spoke, he spoke through Jesus, and he said, I'm not after you guys. I'm on your side. I'm up with you, okay? So I'm going to give you just a final illustration here. We'll close out, okay? And here it is, all right? God loves to go grocery shopping. He does. And we tend to like to go with him. So, because we want to pick out all the ingredients of what he's going to make us. We know what we like. As a matter of fact, we tend to pray all the ingredients that we like. And then we go to the grocery store and God starts picking up the anchovies. And you're like, I don't want that. And Brussels sprouts and lima beans. And I'm going, man, this is horrible. Matter of fact, I tend to stop praying at that point and go do my own thing, right? Because I don't believe it. Well, you know what? God is picking out all these ingredients because he's making a beautiful life for you. Ephesians 1:11 says he does everything according to his will. And Romans 8:28 says, and his will is to do really good by you and create a mature person, a wise person, an amazing person in you. And that's what he's doing. And he's picking out the ingredients. And then all of a sudden at the end, he has this like amazing buffet. But we get all ticked. I don't like that ingredient. That's short-sighted. Matter of fact, when my mom used to make meals and my dad, I didn't watch them. I just trusted them to make it great. And real, I'm kind of getting to the point, I'm getting better, but I'm beginning to believe that God is picking out great ingredients, and I don't need to go to the grocery store with him. I just look at him and go, man, you make amazing things. And the fact that I'm right here right now is a miracle. And would you trust God in the grocery store to pick up the perfect ingredients for you? It may not always look like it's great, but God says, in all these things, my will be done, and that's to do all good for you. To make you into the image of Christ. He's making you someone, which goes back to the beginning, right? A crisis will do one of two things for you. It'll eat you alive, or you'll develop and you'll grow. All right? So, there you have it. Every Sunday at 2 o'clock Hawaiian time, it's 5 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock Mountain, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. I should be a broadcaster. We're going to be here. Beth's going to join me sometimes, and she's right there behind the camera. But Beth will be here next week. We're going to take each one of those 4 things for the next 4 weeks, and we're going to open them up and help you really grow while we do too. We want you along with us. So just know that. And then think about a friend who's really struggling with anxiety and worry and all this stuff in crisis and say, hey, this next month, this dude from Hawaii is throwing some massive wisdom out there, and here's how to get on that thing, and let's go. So think about that. Who are some people you go, hey, I want to share this with? And then, you know, like our Facebook page, Gil and Beth. Gil and Beth, man, we're getting our website up and going, but, you know, come along in this community. We're building a worldwide community of people that want to live better. They want to do life and do it well, and they want truth and grace to be in that. And then, like I said, next Sunday, we'll be right back here, and we're going to talk about that first lethal reaction about freaking out. We're going to talk deeply about worry and anxiety and the prognosis, diagnosis, and then how to cure it. So, love you. Thanks for coming along. See you soon. Bye-bye.